Hello and welcome. This is Military Mind TVP World. I'm Rafał Tomański. As always, we begin with the latest developments on the front line. The war continues for more than 110 days, so we need to be aware of the latest issues that are on the battlefield. We know that, of course, looking at this Donbas region map, we know that Russian military authorities are pursuing options to increase the available pool of eligible recruits. Vladimir Putin, the president of Russian Federation, said that no recruits will be used on the front line, but still, according to the key takeaways, as we look sometimes at the latest on the Institute of Study of War, the British Military Intelligence, such moves are being continued. And as we see, Russian forces are continuing to fight for the control of the Azot industrial plant. We, of course, have obvious connections with the Azovstal in Mariupol, but this time it's Azot plant in Severodonetsk city, as well encircled currently by the Russian troops, as the Azov steel plant facilities in Mariupol port city by the Azov Sea were several weeks ago. And of course, Russian military would like to isolate Severodonetsk and Lysychansk, isolate from the Ukrainian counteroffensive possibilities, and to make a direct attack to get those critical lines of communications and to cut Ukrainians from such possibilities. As well, we know that Russian forces continue to prepare for offensive operation southeast of Izium and west of Liman towards Sloviansk. We know that Russian forces continue offensive operations to push Ukrainian troops away from the front lines northeast of Kharkiv city. And as well, the president of Ukraine said that Ukrainian Air Force is being capable to engage Russian military units in the air and to get substantial hits. And for the last several weeks, according to the President Zelensky, Russian Air Force was unable to get over Ukrainian-controlled positions. So the fighting continues only on these Russian-controlled territories. That's the story from the front line. Now we will go to the set of tweets we prepared in this episode for you. We know that Anonymous, the well-known hacker collective, conducted a devastating drone hack, as they say, here as we see, that can even, as the title says, could speed up the end of war. Of course, it might be an exaggeration, but still, the anonymous hackers are capable of wreaking enough havoc on the Russian, not only Russian, of course, because it's an IT frontline, so information and the new connected technologies for many years we were prepared for the Internet of Things to come. Now in Internet of Things, so the interconnected devices as well are present in tanks, military vehicles and all types of equipment used on the battlefield. So if you are a hacker capable to interfere with those, you are able to control as well the enemy equipment. And Anonymous say that they are able to get some images of their loot of the Russian equipment, of the drones. And one of the photos they shared online showed the list of the largest exporters and competitors of the country in terms of innovations in unmanned vehicle industry, so the drones. Anonymous are able not only to interfere with those UAVs technologies, but as well to get the secret information about the technology. And as well, they share the technical and commercial offer images from Rosoboronexport, so the company responsible for the defense equipment in Russia, about the drone called Orion E, unmanned aerial vehicle Orion E. Anonymous also included in a tweet a link containing military plans and documents collected from various Russian military institutions. So, quite a powerful hacking already done. To the next one, we will see the statement from Ukrainian Air Force, and the spokesman of this part of Ukrainian army, Mr. Yuri Ikhnat, here confirms that the thing that I mentioned to you before, that Russian Air Force is jet fighters for the last 2 months were unable to cross the Ukrainian-controlled airspace, and it can be considered as a massive, at least substantial, victory for the Ukrainians. Ukrainian were not able to deliver any special activities in the air combat, but still, for the more than 100 days, the battle continues with successes, as we see. And here, about the blowing up the vehicle with the Russia-appointed chief of the occupied Kherson province. Of course, the city of Kherson is now tried to be, the Ukrainian forces are trying to liberate the city and have some substantial advances there in the region, but still Kherson, since the very beginning of the war, is occupied by Russians. And the Russians appointed the chief of the occupied administration, a local collaborator named Vladimir Saldo. As we see on the tweet, he and his bodyguards were badly wounded in this attack and sent to the ER, as reported Ukrainian serviceman Andriy Nemirovsky. We see the story here on the screen. Now, about the latest development of the Ukrainian defense equipment, a mortar constructed by Ukrainians themselves. We see how it operates. Ukrainian soldiers with so-called Molot. In Ukrainian, that's a hammer in English. M120 and 15, that's a code name for this. This is how it's being operated. And of course, the name corresponds to the caliber, 120 millimeters. Ukrainian defense, one of the Ukrainian defense companies, under the guidance of the Defense Ministry, was able to develop that kind of technology during the last 2 months of war. So it's self-made, Ukrainian production, and capable to deliver powerful blows on the Russian positions. Very important development on the front line. Now, a story on from the BBC journalist who visited recently the city of Kharkiv, second biggest city in Ukraine. And then they found new evidence that Russian military uses so-called cluster bombs. They are very deadly and powerful weapons capable of bringing destruction to, of course, civilian targets, as the Russian army still is concentrated on such. And as well, human rights organization Amnesty International claims the same. So the report from BBC team is being confirmed by the Amnesty International. And as we know, as far as those two organizations, both British media and Amnesty International, during the shelling of Kharkiv city, Russia widely used such cluster munition, which is banned in many countries in the world. And as a result, hundreds of civilians are killed in such attacks. And even those tiny pieces of such cluster munitions lay on the ground, and sometimes such shelling results in those tiny pieces resembling little toys for the children that may be very interesting for the little ones, and then another atrocities are committed, of course, even without the repeating of any bombardment. This is the report here we get for you. And now to the German military that is supposed to be sent to Ukraine. Of course, the delays are sometimes delivered on purpose. Those delays, of course, are on purpose, deliberate. Here we see the information about the Panzerhaubitze 2000, so one of the modern ones, self-propelled tracked howitzer, German production, that it will be delivered to Ukraine in the near future, confirmed by German Defense Minister Mrs. Christine Lambrecht. Just we don't know when the delivery will take place, as with all the deliveries promised by Germany to Ukraine. And the last tweet we prepared for you is the story of the continuous American aid to Ukraine. 11 parts of such deliveries, both humanitarian, military and financial, were being presented by President Joe Biden. And of course, these 11 tranches here on the quick summary, quick update by the US mission to NATO on the official Twitter account. Of course, the story will continue because Ukraine needs more every kind of substantial aid during the times of war. And that's all in this episode of Military Mind we prepared for you. I would like to bring in the next episode no news about the war. However, we know the story and the reality has to be covered. So stay with us on TVP World.